Is your Xbox going extinct? I'm so sorry. Let's discuss.
That was amazing. I love that joke so much.
Also, if you want to pick up any new Xbox gear or maybe buy a Series X or S console for yourself, I have the links down in the description below.
So there was a big announcement today in the world of Xbox that kind of flew under the radar just before Summer Games Fest.
We're talking about streaming to your TV without the console. So we knew Project Keystone, Xbox confirmed it, but it's pivoting away to something different. But before Summer Games Fest, it was confirmed that Xbox Cloud Gaming is going to be coming to Samsung TVs as a standalone app. It's weird because, you know, it's one thing to sit here and say, okay, there's a streaming app that's going to be coming to TV, because we already sort of knew that. They talked about that last E3 when they were talking about the streaming stick that you can plug into your TV. But I think it was you that said Samsung and Xbox specifically are going to have a streaming app. That's what happened.
So they showed a trailer during Summer Games Fest. It was a Samsung branded trailer, and it's not just Xbox Cloud Streaming. It's also GeForce Now, which is a really cool service where you basically are renting a 3080 equipped PC in the cloud, and you log into Steam on it, and you can play games on Steam. So that's also coming in this like Samsung gaming hub. And June 30th, it's coming to pretty much every 2022 model of Samsung monitors and TVs. We looked, and the cheapest one you can get is a 43-inch one for $550, I want to say. And we'll
not too bad.
we'll have a link down in the description if you want to help us out with a little kickback.
Yeah, and you know, don't forget about Stadia, man.
Dude, oh my God, Stadia. This is a tangent, but the Quarry is coming out today when we record this video. Google should have just held on because it's getting all high 9s and almost some 10s, which is crazy.
Yeah, it turns out they actually may have knew what they were doing. A lot of people were saying that they were like, they don't know what the hell they're doing. They're Google. They know nothing about game development. And they even started to believe that to the point where they shut down their internal game development department.
Potentially their best game.
Yeah, so there are some pretty big revelations to come out of today when it comes to the standalone streaming app. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting during Game Fest, they highlighted the fact all you need is a controller. You don't need a console, just a controller. But there's all sorts of other cool stuff that they're working on when it comes to Game Pass, cloud gaming, and Xbox going forward into the future. We have this Xbox Wire blog post detailing all of those changes. So not only are they bringing Xbox Cloud Gaming to Samsung TVs, but they're also expanding cloud gaming to more countries. They're bringing new gaming experiences to Microsoft Edge and Windows 11. We'll talk about that later. They're rolling out updates for Xbox Game Pass members, and they're introducing more options to express yourself with the Design Lab.
So through this app, I also saw that you can connect a DualSense controller. So do you think you can use a DualSense to play Xbox Cloud streaming games?
We're living through some crazy times, man. We're truly,
do you think it would show
crazy
the button
times.
prompts, or do you think it would? Oh my God, that's crazy. Because like it is weird. If you buy like God of War, right, on PC, it has the Xbox button prompts. You're playing a Sony first-party game with Xbox button prompts. It's just things are getting wild. So yeah, a lot of people are nervous that this cloud stuff is gonna basically eliminate the gaming console market.
A lot of detractors are going to say that Xbox is destroying traditional consoles because this standalone streaming app for cloud gaming, you know, you're gonna have access to the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate cloud stuff. That's just kind of standard, right? That was expected, but they even took it a step further, and they're implementing a way for you, if you buy a game digitally, even if it's not on Game Pass, you'll be able to stream it to this app that they're bringing to Samsung TVs, and that was a pretty big step, I thought.
That kind of makes Game Pass look like a much better option for people too, because I don't know, buying a $70 game that you can only access on the cloud, like if you're someone who doesn't have a console, I feel like that's a little bit of a chump move.
I mean, it's consistent with their philosophy, at least, where everything is cross ecosystem, right? Your saves are cross saves between the cloud, between PC, between Xbox. It's all supposed to be seamless, right? And that's what they're saying. Another interesting thing, this app is going to allow you to play Fortnite without an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate subscription. You don't need to be subscribed to Game Pass, and you'll be able to play Fortnite on these TVs without a console, which is very interesting because we've seen the other streaming services, Stadia, GeForce Now, and even iOS. It's like you can't play Fortnite through them, you know what I'm saying?
you basically have to use Xbox Cloud Streaming, and I actually tried it on my Steam Deck for a video on Deck Ready. And I'm not gonna lie, playing Fortnite on my Steam Deck through Xbox Cloud Gaming was a really good experience. And I don't think this is gonna eliminate the console. I think honestly, the console is gonna stick around for the hardcore users that want it. right? They'll be able to buy the console, and then the people who just want to buy their TV, connect their Xbox controller to it, and play games over the cloud, they'll have that option as well.
Yeah. I mean, there's no reason for Microsoft to stop selling consoles because they are selling consoles. They're actually doing really well, even in markets that previously they were not doing very well. They just hit 10,000 units in Japan. It wasn't even done by the Xbox 360, which was quote unquote the peak of Xbox in terms of their history. Obviously, cloud gaming, the Xbox Cloud, is in beta. It's still in its infancy, but I feel like as it goes along, it can really be awesome for Xbox. We don't want to see consoles go away, right? Because not everyone
Ran I specifically do not want that.
We don't want that. I mean, I want to keep buying a console because I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But especially if you live in an area that doesn't have great internet coverage, that's not appealing to you, right? Just to go in full time to streaming games. That's not right.
And I also saw this tweet, and I've been thinking about it every day since last week. It was from The Fox. He's a YouTuber who mainly covers handheld PCs. He had this conspiracy theory where he was like, is the Series S, Xbox, and Microsoft investigating a way to shrink down console hardware so that they can eventually make a handheld that's Game Pass enabled? At first you're like, but maybe. And if Xbox can do that, they've essentially created a much cheaper way to have a very similar experience that you have with Steam and PC gaming, right? The draw of the Steam Deck to me is that I can buy my games on Steam, I can play them on my at-home gaming PC, my save will then transfer to my Steam Deck automatically, and I can pick up right where I left off, and vice versa, which is great. So that's an expensive proposition though, right? Like I have to get a gaming laptop or a gaming PC, so you're $1,000 in the hole there. Then you have to get the Steam Deck, which is like $400 minimum. On the Xbox side of the fence, you can have a very similar experience with your saves transferring between all these different devices. Your buy-in cost is $500 for the Xbox. A year of Game Pass is what, like $70?
Well, that is, you can't buy a year of Game Pass outright.
Oh, okay.
So that's
so you
that's
pay
a sensitive subject.
So you pay $15 a month for Game Pass. You've got that subscription, which like whatever, I don't really care about that. I don't like it, but that's the only option they give you. And then you have this cloud enabled app on your TV. Maybe eventually you have a handheld. All of your stuff is syncing, and at the very least you have that cloud streaming option. And overall, it is much cheaper than getting into PC gaming, which is why I think people like consoles. And Xbox is being very open and clear about the fact that this is not an exclusive thing to Samsung TVs. This app is being developed for multiple TVs like, you know, LG, all the other brands. I guarantee you'll see TCL. I'm sure they just got bumped down the list after they might have leaked the Xbox Series Y and PS5 Pro. But yeah, having this app just shipping on TVs kind of just gets me thinking more and more about an Xbox operating system in a TV. And I feel like we could eventually get to that future. And then that's where Project Keystone comes in, right?
I don't know how well Microsoft and Apple will mix when it comes. How nice will they play when Microsoft's approached them trying to get
Apple's
their
very
stuff.
clear that they're not super cool with Xbox, which makes sense because, you know, Apple versus Microsoft, Windows versus Mac OS. When they showed No Man's Sky running on an iPad this week at WWDC, they used a DualSense.
Speaking of mobile, I'm personally very excited. A lot of people see Xbox games being played on phones and they think, well, Microsoft, Xbox is diminishing their games and putting them at the level of mobile games. But I, you know, the eternal optimist, I think this is really exciting and could elevate what we think of when it comes to mobile gaming. Like
an indie game's an indie game, right? Like you a lot of them you don't really have to change all that much to make them run on a phone. The one I want on my phone is Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon. That's exclusive to Switch and PC as of right now.
Right, but when you think about mobile games, you think about a certain thing, right? But what if you can play the latest Bethesda games on your mobile device? And that is like, that's very exciting.
Fallout
to me.
4 on a handheld is so good. I love it so much on the Steam Deck. It's a good time. And yeah, doing that on your phone I think would translate pretty well. And the fact that you're doing it through Xbox's gaming service versus downloading it from the Apple App Store, that kind of creates the wall from having a game like Diablo Immortal where the underlying game is very good and super fun to play. It feels like a genuine advancement from Diablo 3. And then when you get to the end game, you basically pay for a chance to fight through a dungeon and open a loot box. And it's like, I think what you're saying is absolutely correct.
In this write-up that Windows Central did, our boy Jez Corden, talk about him every damn video. When will he
CEO of
notice me?
Xbox News, Jez Corden.
Xbox News God. He has a couple of bullet points that I think are interesting as well. And one of them is Microsoft is adding thousands of additional Xbox cloud gaming server racks to keep up with growing demand for its cloud gaming services across the next year. Cloud capacity will grow by 125% as a result. That's like minimum what they have to do if they want to get this
because Fortnite has been stopping people from getting in. Like the servers are getting full because of Fortnite, which is crazy.
And that's crazy because Microsoft has a pretty significant advantage with this Azure cloud technology to the point where PlayStation is like, hey, can we use some of that Azure tech to stream some of our games?
And Xbox is like, we'll take your money.
And it still can't handle it. I mean, still like the server load is too much just from Fortnite. So they definitely got to be beefing up those cloud gaming servers if they want this to be a true pillar of the ecosystem going forward.
I think this is a very, very significant reason why we have not seen a web browser on the PS5. If you have a web browser, connect to the Xbox cloud, play your cloud Xbox games, your Game Pass games on your PS5. And you know what Xbox could easily do? Weaponize that with Bethesda games, weaponize that with Halo, weaponize that with Activision games in the future. There's a lot of crazy stuff they could do to get people into their Xbox ecosystem to spend a lot of money, and Sony will never see a dime from that because it's all running through a web browser. So it's going to be like the Wild West of streaming that we had with movies and TV. I feel like it's coming quick, man. It's crazy.
Rapidly changing industry, even just in the past couple months, I feel like. The next bullet point that Jez highlights is Microsoft revealed that 20% of users on cloud fall under the new to Xbox performance indicator, which is something that you talk about a lot, reaching new people, trying to get them into that.
That's what's important.
Game Pass thing.
That's the only way Game Pass becomes sustainable, which like everyone says, oh, Microsoft can just throw money at this and never make a dime on it. Yeah, they can, but eventually, someone higher up at Microsoft is going to look at that Xbox money sink and turn the faucet off. So Xbox, they've kind of created a catch-22 for themselves where they have to go outside the console because you're only going to reach so many people if you focus on the console.
You've talked about this a million times.
I think about this a lot.
Who are not interested in buying a console, they're not typically gamers, but they have this low barrier way to try out Xbox games and the Xbox ecosystem.
They want to play Fortnite. Fortnite is like the ultimate game now because it has everything in it. Like Darth Vader's in it and Chun-Li.
Naruto. Sasuke.
Black Adam's going to be in it, and The Rock's energy drink's going to be a character. Like,
oh my God, The Rock.
You have this metaverse style game, and if you can just connect through the internet.
The question is, can they convert some of these people that are just in it to play Fortnite to actual Game Pass subscribers, actual Xbox customers? Dude, that will be interesting.
I know I have a PlayStation channel. I just got to heap more praise on Microsoft for this. We have had bad luck with cloud streaming. I think both of us have. Like Halo Infinite specifically runs like dog on streaming. But then you play Fortnite. It's an incredible experience, and that's a good push through the door. Microsoft says like, yeah, look how good that's running. Maybe you want to play Scarlet Nexus because your boy Jez Corden, he was playing Scarlet Nexus over cloud streaming, and it looked like he was running it on his PC. So if you can have an entry game like that, like you make sure that it runs flawlessly like Fortnite does, that's what's going to make people subscribe to Game Pass, because then they can play Halo Infinite, then they can play Forza Horizon 5, which just reached 200 million players thanks to Game Pass most likely. It basically makes me not really want to stick with Xbox because I'm someone who doesn't like streaming from the cloud, but I think there are plenty of people who just want to play games the quickest and easiest way and cheapest way possible, and this opens up a lot of doors for them. More people playing games is good because then we get more games.
It's getting crazy out here, y'all. People playing games, like you were saying, Xbox games with the DualSense controller. Are we going to get to the point where we see Xbox Cloud Gaming, an app on Sony TVs? I don't know, man, but at this point it seems like cloud gaming, anything is possible right now, and it's coming really fast. This new age, this new era is upon us almost, I feel like. Definitely at the end of June, it's going to be the beginning of it, because June 30th is when these TVs are going to have the streaming gaming app that we're talking about.
Sony's winning strategy is, instead of including a web browser on the PS5 where people could access the cloud gaming, when people eventually get upset that they can't play Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield or whatever on their PS5, Sony says, all right, Microsoft, you can put a cloud streaming app on the PlayStation Store. but you have to charge $60 for it. So then every time someone wants it, they have to buy it, and then Sony gets 30% of that cut.
Oh man, that's probably what's gonna head to, right? I mean, we saw that Microsoft earlier, not too long ago, wanted to bring a dedicated app store to other platforms, including the Switch and maybe
in the phone. You would download the app of the game and it would just be like the cloud game. So yeah, the future's crazy and I don't like it.
I don't like change.